So GitHub authentication. We turn it on. We have something we need to copy. If you look here, it says, add Firebase to your JavaScript project, did it. Register your app as a developer application on GitHub. So click that. It'll take you right to the page you need. If you didn't look at the documentation, you can get there by going to your settings, developer settings, new OAuth app, application name. I will say chat S3 afternoon. Homepage URL for right now, I can just put the, well, first of all, here's where I paste in that thing that I copied from Firebase, right? For right now, I'm just going to put my GitHub project as the URL because I don't have it published anywhere yet. Register the application, and that'll give me back a client ID and client secret. So those need to be copied back to Firebase. Client ID, client secret, save, cool, and the rest of it is very much like what we did with Google authentication. So base.js, now in addition to exporting Google Auth Provider, I will export GitHub Auth Provider. I'll call it GitHub Provider. And that is GitHub Auth Provider. The H is not capitalized, by the way. GitHub Auth Provider. I'll export that. Before I forget, I will add that to my base.example.js as well. And then in sign in, I'll make authenticate actually take the provider as an argument. I'll pass it in here. And then my two buttons, so my Google button that's already there, instead of just calling this.authenticate, I'll call an arrow function and pass Google provider as the argument to that arrow function. That way I can just add a second button for GitHub and just pass in GitHub provider and say sign in with GitHub. Now then, of course, I only imported Google provider, so I need to import GitHub provider. Sign in with GitHub. I'll have to authorize this. I got a little error. An account already exists with this same email address. I use the same email address that I used on Google. So on the authentication tab under sign-in method, scroll down to advanced where it says one account per email address, and you can turn that off if you want. Allow creation of multiple accounts with the same email address. Let's try signing in again with GitHub. And now it works. And I have this avatar. This is GitHub me. And it works. Now I want to change the style on these buttons a little bit so that they look different from one another. So I will change my my style just a tad down here. I'll paste all this in Slack. Let's throw an H2 above these buttons, or just inside. Let's do it just inside the form. Just inside the form, I'll put an H2. It says sign in. On my GitHub button, let's just copy and paste these two things. There we go. So here's my entire sign-in component now with my new CSS and so on. Yeah.
What do you put in for your homepage URL?
I just put my GitHub, the link to my GitHub repository for now. And there we go. Use GitHub authentication Firebase. Add GitHub authentication with Firebase. There we go. And I pasted in my entire sign-in component. Yeah. So if you go into sign-in method here, where it says GitHub, copy it out of there. Then you'll have to copy the client ID and client secret out of GitHub.
How did you get those from GitHub? There you go.
Did you go to the page where you do this or not?
Like, I was trying to find the page, so like I went to my GitHub. Like,
Okay, here it goes. So go to your login up here, go to settings, then go to developer settings on the left, and then hit new OAuth app.
okay, awesome.
Yeah, that's where you paste in that callback URL. Then when you're done with that, you'll get the secret and the ID that you need to copy.